So in this episode, I'm going to be taking another look at the Face Refinement tool. The last video I did on this was version 16, and version 19 saw some fantastic improvements to the Face Refinement tool. So I want to show you a couple of those new features, and I also want to show you one new thing in there that I'm using now in my professional color grading workflow. Just to point out that the Face Refinement tool is only available in the Studio version. However, if you don't have Studio, you can still follow along with this. You'll just see a watermark on yours. And if you haven't bought the Studio version yet, you need to just go out and buy it. It's an absolute no-brainer. All right, let's have a look at what we've got. So I've got a series of clips here. I'm just going to put my mouse on. And what I've got is actually 17 takes here of me going around Brighton with my DJI Pocket 3, trying to get the Face Refinement tool to actually break. So what the Face Refinement tool is doing is it's analyzing your face and then allowing us through a series of menus to apply effects to maybe eyes and lips and cheeks. So it's identifying different parts of your face. And the tracker in there is so good, it took me 17 attempts to actually break it. So this clip here, I've had to move like really erratically around the screen, and it finally does break on this shot. So let's use this one because I want to show you one of the new features. So I'm going to go to my effects, and the Face Refinement tool is down here in the Refine section, down here, but I've got mine as in my favorites. So if you want to add anything to your favorites, you just simply press this little star here, and then it appears in your favorites. So down here, I've got my Face Refinement tool. Where is it? There. I'm going to drag and drop it on, and the first thing we're going to do is analyze the clip. So this is where it's going to identify what are the different features on my face. So let's just press this button here. And it does this super quick. I'm on a Mac M2 Ultra. It's running at about 80 frames a second here. And as you can see, it sticks like glue. The face tracker in here has always been fantastic. But one of the key problems was that if it did lose the track slightly at any point, you couldn't then keyframe it and override it. Now in version 19, we can do that. So this is a fantastic addition. So let me show you. So if I just play this through, you should see any minute now. It's just back a little bit here, I think. Yeah, so just here, we start to lose the track a little bit. So it's gone on my mouth. You can see that here. And the eyes are going a little bit out of alignment. So we're going to use the keyframing, the new keyframing ability to fix that. What I'm going to do is press Shift and F. This is a great shortcut when you're working inside the effects tablet because it gives you this full screen view and you can see all of your menus. So as you can see down here, if we look, we've got teeth menu, we've got an eyes menu, we've got cheeks, and these are all identified by these green outlines. So what we need to do now is repair this little bit where it's gone wrong. So I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to actually pull out a little bit so I can see the bottom of the frame. So we can see there my mouth actually does go off the frame, but I'm just using my left and right arrow keys on here just to walk back. So at this point here, we're still good. Okay, the tracker is absolutely perfectly aligned. It's still good here. And around about here, it starts to go. You can see the eyes have gone. So what we need to do is go over to here, and there's a new feature called Interpolate Keyframed. And I'm going to click here. That identifies the start of my interpolation. Now you can see it's now gone blue instead of green. So green means it's the automatic tracker. Blue means we're now keyframing. I'm going to go forward until I find the point where it comes back again. So you can see here we've got a white outline. That's showing me where the original track was going, and it's still wrong there. The lips are out, and around about here we come back in. So that's now back aligned. So I'm going to press Interpolate again, and now it goes green. So now the automatic tracking will carry on. So we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frames that we need to realign. So to do that, we can either move the whole face. I'm just going to click in here, and you see we get this like crosshair, okay, and that allows you to move the whole of the points, the different points, the eyes, nose, mouth, etc. And that's now aligned again. I'm going to go forward 1 frame. I'm going to pull it down. I'm going to line up the eyes manually. And then we see now that the mouth is out of alignment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click near the mouth. And that will allow me to just select the mouth. So that's the outside bit. And then there's the, oops. And you can adjust each individual keyframe point on here as well. And I'm just trying to get it so that I can pull down. There we go. That's the middle of the mouth. And the chin's a little bit out here as well. So let's just pull that round. I'm doing this as individual points on here. And you can be as accurate or as rough as you like. Obviously, this is creating a mask for us, so we can adjust that mask later as well. So let's go forward again. So I'm just going to do this on 7 points. So I'm just moving the chin itself now. I didn't mean to do that, actually. I want to move the whole face. So let's just select the whole face. This is much easier to do when you're in a zoomed-in mode. So don't try and do this in the regular interface that you normally work with. I'm just going to move this eye, line it up a little bit better. And you can see the tracking is great even with me wearing glasses. And let's just pull that one over and just get that eye individually. That's a little bit tricky, but you do get used to this. My nose is a little bit out of alignment. It is anyway, to be honest. I broke my nose many years ago. And let's go forward another one. And something like that. And let's just see where we're going now. And this is pretty much aligned. Just line the eyes up again. And we're good. I think this is pretty good here. We'll just bring the nose up a little bit and the bridge. And we're back to our automatic tracking. So it took a little bit of a while there, but at least you can actually do it. You didn't be able to do that before. So now what we can do is just pull that back. Let's just play it through. And there we go. We've got a really good track now with our repaired interpolated section. All right, let's take a look at another shot so I can show you some more of the new features. This is the original image I used 4 years ago on the original face refinement video I did. That was version 16. I want to show you some of the new 19 stuff. So let's grab our face refinement tool. I've got a little bit of simple color management on and a quick balance here just to get the image looking much better and not flat and log. I'm going to go Shift and F because we're going to start working with these tools here. This is a really nice mode to work in. Let's just knock that back to 200% so I can just see the edge of frame. And what we need to do now is choose which character we want. So I want the girl. So let's just say detect faces in frame, and it's chosen the boy. So I'm just going to override that by touching there, and let's track the shot. So we've now analyzed her face. So we've now got a definition of what the eyes are, where the lips are, and these correspond to these features here, eyes and lips. All right, let's take off the overlay. I don't need that anymore. And let's have a look at what it's actually done. What it's actually doing is creating a mask. So we've identified the eyes, but it's created a mask. So when we do things like smoothing of skin, which I'm going to show you next, this is the mask it's going to use. So first thing we need to do is check that that mask is correct and it's actually covered her whole skin. So to do that, we can use these sliders here. So let's have a look at the shadow range. And I'm just playing with this, just checking we've covered all of her skin. What I don't want to do is lose a bit that might be in shadow. I think around here, there might be a bit more skin to reveal. So let's just have a look if we can get it in. There it goes, a little bit more coming there. So look at temperature. Yeah, there we go. So now we're getting all the skin coming in. But it's also masking over her eyes. So when I do smoothing, I don't want her eyes to be affected. So what we can do is say flat skin areas only. If I click on there, this limits a face region, by the way, will allow you to do the whole image, which obviously we don't want to do. That's the whole point of using the face refinement tool. And we can adjust the size and the softness and all that sort of stuff here. And we can also exclude the mouth. All right, so we've taken out the nose and the eyes, and we can refine the mask here as well, even more, just to get it exactly how we want it. All right, once we're happy, let's take the mask off. And what we're going to do now is come down to here. I don't need the isolation anymore. What we're going to do is come down to the next bit, which is skin texture. Now, this is accessing the beauty tool that's built into the OpenFX in DaVinci Resolve. So it's the same features in there and just accessed within the face refinement tool, which means that it's tracked the face. So when you use it in the beauty tool, in fact, I can show you that. There's the beauty tool. When you're working in this, it's not relying on an isolated area. So you'd have to draw power windows, for example. This in the face refinement tool is using the same beauty tool, but obviously we know where the face is. So let's have a look at how this works. The beauty automatic, the amount is basically smoothing this way and coarsening this way. All right. The secret to getting this right is do it very subtly. And what I want to show you is the advanced mode because it gives us a lot more accuracy. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to say beauty advanced. And what we get now is smoothing and texture. So what you want to do when you do a little bit of smoothing on skin is you want to bring a bit of texture back in as well so it doesn't look artificial. So as we start moving these sliders around, you can see that it's not affecting her eyes. I'm just going to exaggerate that. It's not affecting her lips, which is good. It's just affecting the face that we had in the skin isolation. Now, a good technique when you're trying to get a good amount of smoothing in here is to go into highlight mode. So if I click into highlight mode here, and if you press AB, what that does is show you the difference that that node is making. So as I increase smoothing, it's showing me what is being affected. All right, so if we just zero that off, nothing. Let's introduce a bit of smoothing. And I want to be as subtle as I can here. Let's use the diffuse lighting. What diffuse lighting is doing is helping that smoothing out. It's giving it the effect of being diffused. It's not actually adjusting lighting. Let's bring in our texture threshold. I need a little bit in there and then add some texture. Okay, that's what gives us the more convincing smoothing. And then the recovery amount is dialing back in the original face. So something like that. I'm not affecting the eyes, I can see that. I'm not affecting the lips, so this is looking good. I'm going to switch the highlight off. And let's have a look what we've dialed in. I'm going to press Command and D, and that allows us to see. And that looks really convincing. It looks really good. It's a little bit smooth under here. So I'm just going to add a little bit more recovery. You know, so obviously this is as it was. So something like that. That looks really nice now. The skin grading is the next bit. This is where you actually adjust the colors and the contrast of the skin. I tend to do this at a more global color grading level. I don't tend to do it inside here. But if you did want to adjust at just a face level, the tools are here to do that. So maybe tints, you might want to just change the tint if she's looking a bit too magenta or too green, maybe a little bit of contrast. But I tend to not use these tools in this one. But what I do use is the shine removal. So this is really good. She's got a little bit of shine going on here and here. So let's just boost that up a bit. And you can see that takes that out really nicely. I'm going to press Command D again. And it's done a really good job of taking out that shine and looking convincing. Okay, sometimes when you use the highlight tool to do that, it's not quite as nice as that. It can go a little bit gray depending on how overexposed it is. All right, let's have a look at some of these then. These are the obvious ones. So the eyes, for example, I see this classically all the time. People put sharpening and brightening in here, and it just looks false. You've got to be really careful with these tools. They have improved in version 19. They used to look really quite scary actually, but you've got to be really subtle if you're using these. I tend to avoid sharpening and brightening. I do like using highlight a little bit. Okay, just lifts these areas here, and a little bit of eye bag removal never does anyone any harm. But again, subtle. I've got 0.128 dialed in there, and I can start to see that already, so I might even just back that off a little bit more. That might be a little bit of a case of going back to my smoothing and doing a bit of to-ing and fro-ing between the two. Lips, so what we can do now is if she's got lipstick on, we want to change the color of it, or maybe we just want to make her lips a little less red or more red, we can do that. I'm going to exaggerate by showing you the hue. And what I want to show you is you can see it's not accurately gone around the lips, but there's new tools in here that we can adjust that with now. So we can say mouth corners, inner and outer, and let's go top, outer, and now you can see that it's actually better defined on the shape of her lips. And we will need to do the same on the bottom here. So let's just move the bottom outer one, and now we've got a much better, let's just add a bit of softness, we've got a much better trace of her actual lips there. And then we can adjust the color to whatever we want. So something like that. That's really pretty straightforward. The rest of these are pretty straightforward. There's a new one called teeth. So if I actually, let's find her teeth. We can actually do a bit of teeth whitening. I'm not convinced how good that's going to look, but you get the general idea. Forehead smoothing, cheeks, chin, we've got all those regular things. But the one thing I want to show you that I'm really loving with the new Face Refinement tool is up here, and it's this side lighting feature. So what side lighting is doing is getting rid of what I used to have to do, where I would have to draw a power window and track to light up one half of a face. So watch this. Now I can go side lighting and go lift left and watch this side of her face. It literally just lifts up a little bit of light, and then I can go to the other side and drop it down a little bit, and we get a really nice balanced face there now. Look at the difference that's making now. So that's with the Face Refinement off, and that's with it on. It looks fantastic. So the nice thing with the side lighting is it's following her face all the time. So however she moves, the side lighting's follow. So keep this subtle, otherwise you're going to see the shape. However, what you can do, if I just exaggerate this, you can go to the area size and you can actually tweak this as well. All right, so this is saving me drawing. What I used to have to do was a power window and track it, and you'd often see that as well. So I'm just changing the bias between left and right, and the softness of that, get it nice and soft. And then I'm going to back that back off so it's subtle. So let's just reset it and just introduce a little bit of lighting there. And that, to me, is a fantastic new tool. So I'm loving this side lighting one. So bearing in mind that I ran around Brighton with this 17 times just to try and get the tracker to break for you so I could show you how to fix it, I would love it if you could subscribe to the channel and hit the like button for me. If you want to see a more detailed episode on the beauty tool, that will be appearing somewhere around here. If you haven't bought Studio yet, I strongly suggest you do, even just for the Face Refinement tool, but all the other fantastic features you get. It's not a monthly subscription, it's a one-off payment. That's it for life. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next episode. So I hope you picked up some tips in that episode. Keep it subtle. A little really does go a long way with the Face Refinement tool. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next episode.